gonna have fun with this thing.
You know how they say in certain museums history comes alive?
Yeah.
In this museum, it actually does.
What are you talking about?
Everything in this museum comes to life at night.
Hello? So I wanted to record a message for you, but before we get things rolling, let me be the first to say welcome to your first night of your new security guard career. We really appreciate your decision of becoming the security guard for the night shift. We were starting to lose some hope. I understand that the first night can be a little stressful, but don't worry, I'll keep you company via this method for a while. It certainly is a good thing we have a lot of space on these answering machines. So, this job is fairly simple. Just scan through the security cameras from time to time to make sure no one tries robbing us before our grand reopening. If you're curious about what the whole reopening thing is about, I'll fill you in briefly. We did have another restaurant before this one, but our last security guard there kept spreading stories about ghosts, spirits, and the place being haunted. And we can't let stuff like that spread because that'd be bad business. So we decided to tear the old place down, relocate it, and give ourselves a new name. The only spirits we have in this restaurant are behind the bar counter. You get it? Well, since I'm gonna be on this answering machine for a while, I could talk about a movie that is rather similar to our last security guard story. It's called Night at the Museum. What started as a 1993 book series by Milan Trink? Okay, I didn't know these phones included censor bleeps. That's really innovative. Ended up becoming a feature-length film series starting in 2006 by Sean Levy. But can it be marked down in history as a good film, or should it be retitled Night at the Snoozeum? So this epic adventure starts off really exciting, with a 2-minute foreshadow showing us the exhibits of the Museum of Natural History. And yes, they show you every single solitary exhibit. We end with a wide shot of a T-Rex. Hey, haven't seen one of those in a while. And we cut to our main character, Larry, played by Ben Stiller. He plays the average divorced middle-aged man who has to job hop because he keeps getting fired. He goes to his ex's place to pick up his son Nick to go to a hockey game. We also find out that she already has a boyfriend, and here you'll see a slight problem I have with the movie already.
There he is.
Hey.
How are you, Larry?
Good. How you doing, Don?
Good. Can you believe this weather?
Ugh.
Chilly, huh? Chilly. Willie the penguin.
Dialogue padding, awkward pauses, and not being able to complete a sentence in a reasonable amount of time. And I only say slight problem because there are a couple moments where I think it's actually hilarious, but this is not one of those moments. Larry takes Nick to his hockey game, but it doesn't really matter because this is the only time we see him play. The idea of him playing hockey is ever so slightly relevant later, but honestly, they could have left this hockey scene out entirely and nothing else in the movie would have changed. But hey, at least we get some slapstick!
Game on! Ow!
So, after not getting a black eye due to a hockey puck decking him in the face, Larry goes to an employment agency to see if there are any available jobs around the area. And by the way, the lady he's talking to is actually Stiller's mom in real life, and Mira. And when you realize that these two are related in real life, some of the dialogue is actually pretty funny because they cleverly break the fourth wall.
Debbie? Can I call you Debbie? Because, I felt a connection when I entered this office, and I don't know, I feel like you did too.
I didn't feel a connection.
Well, that was the umbrella corporation for my invention, the Snapper. You know, you snap, lights come on, snap, they come off.
Didn't they already make that?
No, that's the Clapper, which obviously stole a bit of our thunder. Personally, I don't really see what the big difference is. I mean, you know, whatever. But apparently there is a significant portion of the population that has trouble actually snapping.
Clapping's easier.
Debatable.
Oh yeah, and remember this too, because it's a running joke. So, there happens to be a night guard position available at the museum where we meet Rebecca, played by Carla Gugino. Oh god, whatever. The mom from Spy Kids. She plays a museum tour guide who has a fascination with Sacagawea and is writing a paper about her. But that's not important at all.
Please don't touch the exhibits!
Oh god, here we go.
Miss Hutman, I cannot tolerate this type of chaos. I mean, this is a museum, not a... Do you know what museum means? It doesn't mean, ooh, Daddy, it's a big Tyrannosaurus thing. Can I touch his leg? No! Work it out, please.
Dr. McPhee, played by Ricky... Oh god, Gervais. Why can't I pronounce any last names on people that had anything to do with Night at the Museum? Alright, so earlier one of the problems I said I had with the film is a lot of scenes drag on because characters just don't complete sentences. They stutter and have long pauses. But this is one of those few exceptions that I actually make to the film. Dr. McPhee cracks me up almost every single time.
No. I find it about as funny as a fancist. It's not funny, okay? And I will not stand for this type of blatant...
After that, we meet the other night guards. Cecil, played by Dick Van Dyke. Wow, his parents must have really hated him when he was born. Reginald, played by Bill Cobbs. And Gus, played by Mickey Rooney.
The Care Bears.
Cecil's gonna give Larry a tour of the museum, but not before these three perform some very subtle acting.
You really think he's the one? Oh, yes. He's the one.
So, think he's the one? Oh yeah. He's definitely the one.
One of the exhibits that Cecil shows Larry is the Egyptian exhibit, which contains a golden tablet.
Very cool.
It is indeed, Larry. Very cool.
Again, very subtle. Now it's closing time, so it's the first night on the job and we're greeted with more filler.
Hello?
Okay, so I gotta admit I left a lot of this scene. But, pretty soon, Larry starts noticing something odd about the place.
Cecil?
So this is where the T-Rex must have ended up after it got its ass kicked by the Spinosaurus. But don't tell any hardcore Jurassic Park fans that, even if you're a huge Jurassic Park fan yourself. They may not like it, and may start criticizing your opinions. But you're the night guard at a restaurant, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. Okay, so as you should know by now, all the exhibits have come to life, but most of them don't seem very happy with Larry.
You new dum-dum, you give me gum-gum.
Now, there are a lot of exhibits here, but the important ones are Jedediah, played by Owen Wilson, who, by the way, is not in the credits of the film because originally he was only supposed to be a cameo, but the screening audience liked this character so much that the filmmakers upped his role, but I guess it was too late to put him in the credits anyway. Jedediah always calls Larry Gigantor and doesn't like to be manhandled.
Step aside, Gigantor. We got us a railroad to build. We're blowing a hole in that thing. Put me down. I don't like to be manhandled.
Then there's Octavius, played by Steve Coogan, who has a rivalry going on with Jedediah. Cowboys and Romans, eh? Actually kinda sounds like... Nah, never mind. Teddy Roosevelt, played by Robin Williams, who is probably the most helpful exhibit since he tries to actually help Larry. And I also like him because he knows my frustration with the padded dialogue and stuttering.
Now it's almost on. I shall help you restore order tonight, but mark my words, it's the last time I shall ever do so. Is that clear?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Stop babbling, boy!
Unfortunately, that doesn't make the padding stop, but it was a nice effort. Sacagawea, played by... Oh boy, here we go. Mizuo Peck. Walter Peck. I don't care. You know, looking her up on IMDb, she was apparently in something called Naked, a guy's musical. I just thought you'd like to know. Mostly what's important about her is Teddy has a crush on her but is too nervous to say. Also doesn't help that there's a giant soundproof wall of glass between them, but the nervousness is the biggest thing supposedly. Also, Larry has a running joke where he can't pronounce her name.
You're Sacagawea? You're Sacagawea?
And this is Sacagawea. Wea.
But the joke is immediately ruined in the first scene. He tries doing this because he pronounces it right.
Oh, Sacagawea.
And Attila the Hun, played by Patrick Gallagher. To put it blunt, Attila wants to rip Larry's limbs off since that's apparently what him and his posse would do in historical times. But I'm not a history major, and history is my worst subject, so I'm not gonna promise you anything history related, and just go by what I've heard from the film. There is one more important character, but we're not going to be seeing them for a while. Essentially, Larry's Knight is getting used to the environment and trying not to die. Oh yeah, and might as well bring this up. There's a monkey named Dexter who constantly harasses him and tries to get him killed. Oh yeah, and he pees on him.
Ew!
Laugh it up, kids! Monkeys pissing on people is funny. I don't like Dexter, even if some people find him adorably annoying. I find him annoyingly annoying. Larry survives, though not easily done, and obviously, like any rational human being, he wants to quit right away. But only one thing is gonna change his mind, which I will tell you on your second work shift, since it's time for you to get out of here. We'll also see how he will handle his second night. Good night!